All right, fantasy news. We are going to start there this week in hopes to really share some uh, fantasy thoughts for fantasy football this year. This is just strictly player news. I just picked out a few pieces of important part of the news to just share really quickly. We're going to start with Jacob Harris. Has a groin injury, going to be out for a couple weeks. Again, this is still early, mid August at this point. May not be no big, you know, fantasy mess up for anybody that has picked him up. Cardinals rookie McBride dealing with a bulky back. No timeline. He's, well, I lied. A couple days. But then again, who knows what's going to happen after a couple days. I have back problems every day, and it kills me, but I still go out there and exercise anyway. Uh, Cardinals also. What's so funny?
that's that's you just come out of nowhere. You're trying. You have back pumps every day. Don't stop you from working out. It's like,
Where did that come from? Good question. I have no idea.
it's like, where the hell did that come from?
Where did it come from? I have no idea. I mean, I guess to the fact that I, go out there and work out and I still have back problems, I guess there's no cylinder at least, but I guess it just came out of nowhere, said it.
That is bizarre, man. You just came out of nowhere with that one.
Mm-hmm.
And these are more of the healthier type professional athletes, and you just compare that to you.
I really honestly had no reason to do that, but I mean,
Oh
but
my goodness.
I guess it's that I can understand where his back injury is coming from, but considering that he's dealing with people and he's a tight end, he's running and
Oh yeah.
blocking, and so that kind of just puts things to a whole new
Oh
perspective.
my god. Yeah. No kidding.
Cardinals also activate tight end Max Williams from an ACL injury from PUP. Uh, I wouldn't do anything with that one. Just leave him be. Just leave him be for now. Jeremy Ruckett activated from the active NFI. He had a foot injury. He's not active. He is a tight end for the New York Jets. And he should be second string tight end behind CJ Uzomah. 49ers tight end Jordan Matthews tear his ACL, so he's pretty much just done. Saints to sign veteran tight end Chris Herndon. Tight end for now the New Orleans Saints. 39 catches, 502 yards, 4 touchdowns as a member of the New York Jets. Adds the Vikings in the 2021 season, caught 4 passes for 40 yards and 1 touchdown, appearing in 16 games. That's a pretty very slow production on that behalf. So his production, his projection rank is 974th on the list, just as a FYI. Irv Smith with a thumb injury should be ready for week 1, tight end for the Minnesota Vikings. 66 catches, 676 yards, and 11 touchdowns in 29 career games. But he is about to go to turn 24, so he's still young. for his career. They may continue to keep him as tight end too for the Vikings, so that's just something to bear in mind. And the last one I have is Pharaoh Brown will be the starting tight end for the Houston Texans. He is 363rd projected rank against tight ends or overall list probably. Lovie Smith, the Texas head coach, is loving what he can do. He is the number one tight end for the Houston Texans, so just keep him on your radars if anybody's looking to, book up their tight end picks. That's pretty much all I have.
Before we go into the that's what I'm talking. It's kind of like this thing is like, well, where did this come from? Why are we talking about fantasy football? Why are we discussing news? Well, here it is. I decided to do something that I haven't done in almost 17 years, and that was participate in fantasy football. I signed up for fantasy football for my job, weekends only. I got Darren helping me with different things of our fantasy football. So we decided it's like, okay, well, let's just go ahead and share some news while we're at it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll discuss a couple things of fantasy talk.
Yep.
So that's where the fantasy news and stuff is coming from. So bearing in mind that for the next year or so, you'll hear a lot of fantasy news, fantasy talk, and stuff like that. So, yeah, very excited about fantasy football this year. We're gonna see if we can. Me and Derek used to battle each other all the time.
No kidding.
So now it's pretty much okay. Let's put our heads together. Let's see how we do. Let's see how we do. So now we're actually kind of teaming up using my fantasy from my job. We're gonna go from there.
Let me just say for the record, and I'm saying this on the record. You may not want this to be said on the record, but I'm gonna say this for the record any damn way because I gotta say this because I want this to be a point made across the board. Everybody got good draft grades except Durham. He is the only one that got the baddest grade of everybody. Now, let that be a warning to everybody. And that's all I'm going to say. Do not let this draft fool you into thinking that we are actually going to finish 0-15 Yahoo Sports. Do not be fooled.
Please, yes. And we've already made changes. I'm already still lowest in projection points from last season, and that's exactly what they're predicting. That I'm going to finish 0-15. So yeah, don't let that fool you. Just don't. Just don't. Me and Darren a couple of times have put our heads together when it came to fantasy sports, and we've managed to beat some of the best. So just kind of let that tickle in your brain for a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
2007. Basketball fantasy. Yep. You had to put the heads together then.
Put our heads together then.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, sure did. Put our heads together. So yeah, just keep that in mind. You're going to hear a lot more fantasy and stuff like that.
You're going to hear it for the next, mainly for the next 4 months, starting from now all the way up until probably either playoffs or probably even before then.
So I'm excited for it.
Me too.
I'm ready for it.
Me too.
I'll give out the schedules and who's participating. I'll do that when it's close to kickoff in September.
And not preseason kickoff.
Not preseason kickoff. It's going to be regular season kickoff. I'm going to mention who I'm going to be against, who's in this fantasy, and all that. So just letting everybody know.